folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. So today's video got a lot of information here, and I'm probably not going to get through it all today. And to be honest with you, I'm still working on trying to take all of this information and put it into something that you can understand, or that I can, present to you in a way that's understandable, because there's just so much. And we're talking about Operation Warp Speed and the coming, shall we say, shot in the arm. I've been talking about this over my Patreon page, and I do talk about it a little bit more freely over there. And so if you're willing to chip in $1 a month, you can get your foot in the door and watch and see most of the content that I put up over there. But this Operation Warp Speed, in my opinion, is something that both the left and the right just don't want you to think about. They don't want you to really know too much about it. It's not really much in the media. The president is pushing it. Joe Biden is pushing the shot in the arm. There's just not a whole lot of opposition out there, or at least transparency, as to what is really going on, what their plans are, and what in the world this is that they're encouraging everyone to go out and get a shot in the arm. Because as we all know, while there are people that are certainly seems to be at risk because of this disease that's going around, let's just call it that, the fatality or the mortality rate seems to be quite low. And it makes me wonder, why would everyone be willing to line up and get this shot of something that's really not been tested and proven? We don't know what's in it. We don't know what are the short-term effects. We don't know what the long-term effects. We know nothing. We really know nothing about it. And it amazes me how many people are just willing to line up and take it, and they don't really even know what's going on. So I've been doing a little digging. And, well, I'm going to tell you what I found so far, at least part of what I found. This Operation Warp Speed, as you probably know, was commissioned by the president. And at the time that he announced it, he said it would be the greatest undertaking of the U.S. government since the Manhattan Project. The rapid response, the mobilization of the military and other government agencies, along with private industry, this pace at which they plan on moving was quite epic, I guess. And so it's been referred to several times as similar to the Manhattan Project. And for those of you that didn't know, the Manhattan Project is where we developed the atomic bomb to drop on Japan. And so just that alone, it's like, man, of all the things that's happened in the United States over the past 70 years, and this is the biggest thing. I mean, is this disease so deadly that it needs that kind of response? It kind of makes you wonder, what is really going on? General Perna is the man in charge of Operation Warp Speed, and I want to show you a little clip of him just a few days ago. He's been making his rounds on different interviews and TV shows and doing a lot of press conferences, so there's a lot of footage from this guy. But I want to show this one and what he said. And to be honest with you, I haven't exactly figured out what he means. I mean, I think I know what he means, but let's just watch and see.
Emergency use authorization. All of America must receive vaccine within 24 hours, as I said. I think this is incredibly important. Fair and equitable distribution of the vaccine throughout the country simultaneously. There is no haves and have-nots. It is an equitable distribution, and we are driving hard to make sure that that happens.
So in that, if you didn't catch it, he said that this shot in the arm will be distributed to all of Americans within 24 hours. That once they get the go-ahead to give it to everyone. And it makes me wonder how in the world they plan on doing that. Now, if you listen to other things, they've actually said the first round they plan on giving about 40 million people, which will be the first responders, the frontline workers. And then throughout the months of January, February and March, they're hoping to give the shot in the arm out to pretty much the rest of the population, at least 300 million, 300 plus million people, which is just almost the whole country. How forceful is this going to be given? Are they going to, is it just completely voluntary, or is there going to be any type of encouragement along the way for you to take this? And that's something that's not been explained really very clearly. General Perna, in one interview I found, he said that they will be pushing this. And he equated it, or at least compared it, to a typical year with the flu shot in the arm. And he said on a typical year for something like that, he says that the shot in the arm is available, and if people want it, they can get it. And there is campaigns encouraging people to get it. But he said that in the end, people can kind of just choose what they want. He said, but this one will be different. He said, this one we will be pushing it. No real clarification on what that means. They'll be pushing it as opposed to just normal ad campaigns. No one really knows. Dr. Matthew Hepburn, who is part of Operation Warp Speed, he is one of the lead virologists in charge of the shot in the arm development. He said that the shot in the arm will be voluntary, but strongly encouraged. Strongly encouraged. He also said that veterans will be called upon to do their duty once again to their country by taking the shot in the arm to help inoculate the whole country. So veterans, beware. Now, from this point on, I'm going to start telling some things that maybe not everyone's aware of. Maybe you're not aware of the other aspects of this shot in the arm. There's been over $12 billion from the federal government given to develop this. This has been developed in just a few months' time, less than a year. So they say a typical one takes 5 to 10 years to develop. And so there's a lot of questions of how in the world this has been developed so rapidly, even with the amount of money. Now, typically, most of these pharmaceuticals, it takes about $1 billion to develop one, and we've already dumped at least $12 billion into it. Well, the Dr. Matthew Hepburn, which I had mentioned, he said in an interview, the reason he was asked, how is it possible that this was developed so rapidly? And he said, well, DARPA played a big role in that. Many of you probably should have some alarm bells going off at just the phrase DARPA. You know what DARPA is, and if you do not, I'm not going to go into it in this video, so I encourage you to do a search on your own what DARPA is. Maybe in another video I'll go into some details of that. At the Senate hearing, where General Perna was confirmed by the U.S. Senate to take charge of this operation, he stated at the Senate hearing, and you can, these are some screenshots of the transcripts. He said that he was planning on using the DARPA's vast knowledge and technology in developing and distribution of this shot in the arm. They began work back in January, and in the initial announcement from President Trump, he did not use their name, but he did say that the reason why they planned on having this out so rapidly is that they were already working on developing this back in January. And if you look at some of the things that DARPA does, one of them is developing rapid development of shots in the arm. And they say they do it in case there's some type of attack and that they can, rapidly develop something. So they're constantly working on ways to develop one rapidly. And so they were back in the beginning of January, they were already working on developing this way back when, we were being told it was not a big deal, nothing was going on, and most people didn't even know it existed, only in China. and they were already working on it. They have done most of the funding. Apparently, they developed the serum with the antibodies in it, and then they have distributed that to certain companies, private companies, so that they could go on and develop the shot in the arm. And they have led most of the funding. Now, this next part, I found very little information on it, but I have found some. And I'll try to put some screenshots up. And like I said, it's just like a little blip, and then that's it. Way back when this first started, a representative at a press conference, and I have yet to be able to find that. We watched it, my wife and I watched it way back when it happened, and I don't know if it's been scrubbed or if I'm just having a difficult time finding it. But it was at a press conference. They said, they were asked then at the press conference, how in the world did they plan on developing one rapidly? And they said they were going to be using nanotechnology, RNA and nanotechnology. And if you look into what that means, the nanotechnology, it's not your standard using a dead virus to create a shot in the arm. It is manipulation of genes with nanotechnology. And without going into more detail, which you should look that up, there's a lot of risk there and a lot of danger. It's not something that we have a whole lot of experience and know the long-term effects of that. But there is evidence that DARPA has been using microchip technology and nanotechnology. In fact, there was an article about Bill Gates partnering with DARPA in using nanotechnology. The bottom line is, why is there such a rush to do this? I mean, it's not going to help the president, confirm or get into office. That's not going to help him with the election. The election's over. It's not going to help Biden anymore. The election's over. So using this to sway some of the voters, there's no point in it anymore. But there's still a push for it. They have announced, the Health Department, Health and Human Services, has said that they will be ready for distribution as of the 1st of December, as soon as the FDA gives the go-ahead. And I suspect that will happen soon. General Perna, in interviews, said that he expects to be in the distribution stage of it somewhere in mid-December, maybe the end of December. So what we're saying here is there's about a month before this thing is on the path of distribution. And honestly, we don't know what that means. They're saying that they're probably going to be distributing it to frontline workers first, which is what I've said. There's a lot of talk, if you listen to, and there's a lot of interviews out there, if you listen to them, they talk about breaking the United States up into different districts and ensuring that there's enough for each district, and working with local companies, working with FedEx and UPS for distribution, working with private companies like Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, where you can just go to a pharmacy and get the shot. And that's all sounds fine, because that sounds like any other shot in the arm. But they're talking about compelling people. They're talking about encouraging people, putting pressure on people to take this. And at what extent will that be? Because if you look at the polling right now, less than 50% of the last that I saw showed that about 45 to 48% of the American population said they had no interest in taking it, especially not right now. I suspect that number is actually higher. So if that is true, and they start rolling it out, and people are just like, you know what, so what? I don't need this. What's going to happen next? Will there be more of a push, shall we say? Will there be more encouragement, and at what extent will that encouragement be? Why is it that they are so aggressively pushing this? And a lot of people would say, well, there's this disease going around that's, you know, such a danger, but yet the numbers don't show that. They just don't show that at all. Yes, there are people, it appears, that are getting ill from something and even dying, um, but the numbers are quite small, and it makes me wonder why there is such a hype to push this into our bodies. Um, Even while some people may believe that, well, it's because, you know, we hope that things go back to normal. We want the country to open back up and stop having to wear diapers on our face. And, uh, you know, if we take this, you know, things will just go back to normal. But the fact is they've said that that's not the case. Bill Gates, Dr. Fauci, several others have said that they suspect and expect these um, social distancing measures and lockdown measures to continue for many months after the shot in the arm has been distributed, that's not going to slow it down. And they've said that this will be multiple shots. You'll have to take 2 up front, and then you'll have to probably get it at least once a year, maybe forever, they say. So it's quite interesting that they are pushing this so heavily. They're saying it's just free for everyone, so there can't be too much uh, of a financial reason to be doing this. So what else is it? You know, it makes me think of the old Latin phrase "cui bono." Who benefits? Who benefits from this? Who's benefiting from pushing so much of the American population to taking this when we know absolutely nothing about what it's in it? We know nothing about what it's going to do to us. We know nothing about what are the long-term repercussions for it because it's not been studied enough. I'm not telling you to take or to not take something, but I'm telling you there is enough going on that we know. This isn't even talking about classified stuff that we're not privy to. There's enough stuff going on that we know about should make anyone pause for a moment and wonder what this really is and why are they pushing us so hard to take it. Let me know what research you have done. I know many of you do a lot of research on this also, and let me know what you think so that we can get a discussion going in the discussion part of this video down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.